my YouTube friends. Thanks for joining me for this video. I just wanted to come on and show you how I doodled over a watercolor piece. Yes, again, I'm still into my watercolor phase. I hope you don't mind that. And before I get into the doodling, I'm going to talk to you about the background because it was done off camera. It's part of my daily art that I do every morning before breakfast. And I'm working on 140-pound weight arches paper, watercolor paper, rough grain. And I love that paper. The texture is just amazing. The only drawback to this is when you doodle over something that rough, just keep in mind that you might ruin your marker tip. I'm being very careful, but if you have a heavy hand, it might wear off the tip a little bit. So just keep that in mind. And so what I wanted to do was kind of like a marble effect, and that's not a marble effect, but a granite effect with the veins, the white stuff that the white kind of branches that you're seeing. They started out as being veins, and of course that was masked with a masking fluid. I prefer the PBO drawing gum. I think it's the best so far that I have tried. But once I removed the masking fluid, after I was done with the painting, they didn't look like veins to me. They were too thick. I wanted something thinner. So, and then I had these globs of colors, and I thought, well, I like to doodle. When I have like patches of colors, I like to doodle my imaginary flowers. So I thought, well, okay, let's turn the veins into branches. And that's how this piece was born. So for the colors that I've used in the background, I'm going to try and remember here. I used Bloodstone Genuine by Daniel Smith, and this is kind of like that grayish purplish color that you're seeing in the background. I also used Opera Rose by Sennelier, Prussian Blue by Sennelier. I think I also used Blue Appetite Genuine by Daniel Smith, and a little bit of Cobalt Violet Deep Hue by Sennelier. Yes. So yeah, that's it for the background. And I've also splashed some of the masking fluid because you're seeing some drops there to the right of the screen, and that's what created those white circles. As for the doodling, I just let my imagination run, really. And I was also starting to see shapes of leaves, shapes of leaves or leaves. But I didn't want to doodle them in black because of the whiteness of the branches. I figured if I do the leaves in white and I do the flowers in black, but kind of like render them almost like a translucent effect because you can still see the color behind it, that'll give it another dimension. So that's why you're seeing a little bit of the leaves skeleton. I will do something else after that. I will cover them, like I will fill them in. But for now, this is me doodling. I didn't speed up that video because it's not all that long. I did not record the entire process because otherwise it would have been too long. And I did this in several batches of, whenever I had time in between work, I would just come to the studio and doodle some more. So sometimes I forget to hit the record button. So, but yeah, anyways, I'm going to leave you with the doodling, and I'll be back with some more information when it's time to do the leaves. I also forgot to mention that I've added a little bit of white gold. You can probably see it on the bottom of the left flower that I've already doodled, and also the one to the right above the flower is also got some white gold, and that's from the Gansai Tambi metallic set from Koretake. I just love that set. I just can't get enough. All the golds in there are just so gorgeous. So yeah, and you've noticed also that I made kind of like a shading at the bottom of each of the flowers and to the right of it, because I kind of figured that my light source would come from the left, because I will have a lot of white on the left hand side. So in my head it just made sense. So what I'm doing is I took the what's it called, Uni Posca paint pen to shape the leaves, because ultimately I will fill them in with gouache. But because I still don't know what I'm doing with gouache, I figured at least if I have the outline of the leaves, it'll be a lot easier for me when I start painting with the gouache. And I have to research more on the gouache situation, because every time I use it, this is probably the second time that I'm using it, and I'm always dissatisfied with how it works. I find that it doesn't cover well unless you use water. And of course, I'm going over watercolor. So when you use water over watercolor, of course, the color starts to mess with the white. So I don't know. Maybe it was because I was working over rough texture. I don't know. These could all have contributed to my getting really upset. And I thought, okay, stop it. So what I did to circumvent all that is, yes, I started diluting the gouache with water, although I'm not sure that I'm supposed to. And then I went over each of the leaves several times. So yeah, to me, it's just counterproductive. Is gouache only strictly reserved for working with gouache and not to cover something else? Maybe. But I thought, it's an opaque paint, so why not? Anyways, and could I have used the paint marker instead of gouache? Yes, I could have, but I was afraid to not have enough paint left in my marker, because I've been using it quite a bit. And also I didn't want to mess up with the tip of the marker, because it seems a little bit more fragile than the Pitt Artist Pen. And because it's an ultra fine tip, I really wanted to keep that tip pristine. So I was being very careful when I was doing the outline, but to fill the leaves in would have required a little bit more work. And yeah, it's a fine tip. I don't have a bigger paint pen. I do, but it's much, much larger. So anyways, I figured the gouache would be the answer. And also I'll end up covering the leaves, not the leaves, but the branches, because the branches is actually the raw paper and it has a slightly yellowish tint to it. So it's not the same as the white inside the leaves. So I made everything uniform by also painting over the branches with the gouache. also wanted to mention, in case you've missed it from my previous vlog, that I will be vlogging every day during the month of August because there's a lot going on here at CeeCee Studios with my visitors and lots of fun events that we have planned. So yeah, vlogging every day. Of course, it's going to mostly be about art. There's going to be some funnies in there as well. I also wanted to tell you that most of my originals, or most of the daily art originals, are up for grabs. If you're interested, just email me. All my contact information is below, as well as prints and other merch with these pieces of art are also up for grabs in my Society 6 store. Link below as well. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below, and I will see you later. Bye!